Welcome back, Sean. Here's Avi reading to you again after a short, or rather long, delay. We're on Avi Reads 13. We're back in the Bible with Genesis chapter 6, and we're back in the Hobbit, watching Bilbo getting ready to go on an adventure. Glad to have you back, and all your friends and cousins, aunts, uncles, or whoever else is watching. Glad to have you back. Sorry I've been gone so long. So here we go with Genesis chapter 6. One of the more interesting chapters of the Bible, and a very important one. It explains a lot of things about man. Chapter 6, the Great Flood. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took them as their wives, any one that they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, that every intention and every thought of man in his heart was continually evil. The Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. That's one of the saddest statements in all of the Bible. So the Lord said, I will blot out man, whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things, and the birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Now these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God. And Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark or a boat out of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and out with pitch, something like tar. It kind of makes the boat waterproof, don't you think? This is how you are to make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. Now a cubit we don't normally talk about, but it's about from here to your elbow. And most people think it was about 18 inches. So we'll go with that. The length shall be 300 cubits. Its breadth or width 30 cubits or 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a roof for the ark, and finish it to a cubit above, and set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with a lower, second, and third decks. For behold, I will bring a flood upon the waters of the earth, to destroy all flesh which is the breath of life under heaven. Everything that is on earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you. You shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And of everything, living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female, of the birds according to their kinds, and of the animals according to their kinds, and of every creeping thing of the ground according to its kind. 2 of every sort shall come with you alive into the ark to keep them alive. Also take with you every sort of food that is eaten, and store it up. It shall serve as food for you and for them. Noah did this. He did all that God had commanded him. Why? Because he was a righteous man. He knew God and knew to follow what God would tell him. That's always good advice for each and every one of us, if we would be thought righteous in the eyes of God. Now we're off to a different adventure, an adventure with a hobbit who's about ready to have a great adventure. As we last left Bilbo, he was afraid and was hiding in his room, but then he came out. He heard them talking. Pardon me, he said, if I have heard words that you were saying. I don't pretend to understand what you are talking about, or your reference to burglars, but I think I'm right in believing, this is what he called getting up on his dignity, that you think I am no good. I will show you. I have no signs on my door. It was painted a week ago, and I'm quite sure you've come to the wrong house. As soon as I saw your funny faces on the doorstep, I had my doubts. But treat it as the right one. Tell me what you want done, and I will try it. If I have to walk from here to the east of east and fight the great wild werewolves of the last desert. I had a great-great-great-granduncle once. Boer War took and I... Yes, that was long ago, said Gloin. I was talking about you, and I assure you that there is a mark on the door. The usual wanting to trade, or used to be. Burglar wants a good job, plenty of excitement and reasonable reward. That's how it usually read. You could say expert treasure hunter instead of burglar if you like. Some of them do. It's all the same to us. Gandalf told us there was a man of the sort in these parts, looking for a job at once, and that he had arranged for a meeting here this Wednesday, tea time. Of course there's a mark, said Gandalf. I put it there myself, for very good reasons. You asked me to find the 14th man of your expedition, and I chose Mr. Baggins. Just let anyone say I chose the wrong man or the wrong house, and you could stop at 13 and have all the bad luck you like. Or go back to digging coal, which apparently they were doing. He scowled so angry at Gloin that the dwarf huddled back into his chair. And when Bilbo tried to open his mouth to ask a question, he turned and frowned at him and stuck out his bushy eyebrows till Bilbo shut his mouth tight with a snap. That's right, said Gandalf. Let's have no more argument. I have chosen Mr. Baggins, and that ought to be enough for all of you. If I say he's a burglar he is. Or will be when the time comes. There's a lot more in him than you guess, and a deal more than he has any idea of himself. And I suspect that's probably true of all of us. You don't know what's in you till you're asked to do something adventurous. You may all possibly live to thank me yet. Now, Bilbo, my boy, fetch the lamp and let's have a little light on this. On the table, in the light of a big lamp with a red shade, he spread a piece of parchment, rather like a map. This was made by Thor, your grandfather, Thorin. By your grandfather, Thorin, he said in answer to the dwarves' excited questions, is a plan of the mountain. I don't see that this will help us much, said Thorin, disappointingly after a glance. I remember the mountain well enough, and the lands about it, and I know where Mirkwood is, and the withered heath where the great dragons bred. There's a dragon mark in red in the mountain, said Balin, but it'll be easy enough to find him without that, if we ever arrive there. There's one point that you haven't noticed, said the wizard, and that is the secret entrance. Secret entrance. You see that ruin on the west side? Ruin is a way they wrote back in those days. It's a way of writing. And the hand pointing to it from the other ruins, that marks a hidden passage to the lower halls. Look at the map at the beginning of this book and you'll see the ruins. That little book I gave you, Sean, it's in there. Take a look when you get a chance. It may have been secret once, said Thorin, but how do we know that it's secret any longer? Old Smaug has lived there long enough now to find out anything there is to know about those caves. He may, but he can't have used it for years and years. Why? Because it is too small. 5 feet high the door, and 3 may walk abreast, it says. But Smaug cannot creep into a hole that size, not even when he was a young dragon. Certainly not after devouring so many dwarves and men of Dale. Seems a great big hole to me, squeaked Bilbo, with no experience of dragons and only of hobbit holes. He was getting excited and interested again, so much so that he forgot to keep his mouth shut. He loved maps. In his large hall there hung a large one of the county road and all his favorite walks upon it in red ink. How could such a large door be kept secret from anyone outside apart from the dragon, he asked. He was only a little hobbit, you remember, and not schooled in those ways. In lots of ways, said Gandalf, but in what way this one has been hidden, we don't know without going to see it. From what it says on the map, I should guess there's a closed door, which has been made to look exactly like the side of the mountain. That is usual dwarf's method, I think. That is right, isn't it? Quite right, said Thorin. Also, went on Gandalf, I forgot to mention that with the map went a key, a small and curious key. Here it is, he said, and handed to Thorin a key with a long barrel and intricate words made of silver. Keep it safe. And we'll leave them right there, wondering what's going to happen next on this adventure of Bilbo's. Now, you keep yourself safe. Be good to your mom and dad. Take care of Zelda and that new little puppy you guys have. I love you and I miss you very much, and I can't wait to see you again. You guys take care and have a good day.